It's a perfect example of how AI can be used to solve problems in ways we wouldn't expect.
So instead of freaking out, he just turns to technology to fix it.
Yeah,
Clever.
exactly. He takes
Have you ever written information down and maybe you've recorded it, you've got a screenshot of it, but you've actually lost the data? This was a problem I had recently, and I did a live stream on how I took a video recording that I had on YouTube to recreate about 8 different prompts in a workflow. In this podcast, which I've recreated using Notebook LM, I go through that particular process. If you want to see the original recording, you can click the link in the description, or you can just listen to the podcast. I'm Happy Dave. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you at the end of this podcast.
Hey, but really, though, haven't we all been there? Like right in the middle of something important, and then bam, something you need, like a file or a note, or like that one amazing idea you wrote down, vanished. Poof, gone.
Oh, yeah. I know that feeling. It's enough to make you want to, tear your hair out.
Totally. And that's exactly what we're diving deep into today. It's about a content creator who had this exact problem, but there's this cool AI twist.
Oh,
He figured out how to get all his lost work back, all using screenshots and ChatGPT.
whoa. That's pretty impressive using AI to solve a problem like that.
Yeah.
It really shows how powerful these tools are becoming, especially for, content creators.
For sure. And we're talking about Appy Dave here, the YouTuber. He uses AI a lot in his work. And get this, in one of his videos, he talks about how he lost a whole bunch of AI prompts.
Oh, yeah, those are they're basically the foundation of his creative process.
Exactly. And these aren't just any prompts, okay? This is part of this whole thing he calls Project Theodore. What is he even trying to do with this project?
Well, it's a pretty interesting idea. It's actually based on that movie, Her.
Oh, yeah, with Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So in the movie, Theodore has this AI companion that's always learning about him, right? And then it interacts with him based on his personality and experiences. Well, Appy Dave wants to do something kind of similar, but he's using behind-the-scenes footage of his work and his life to do it.
Wow. So it's like he's thinking way ahead, capturing all this stuff now so AI can, make sense of it later. That's some serious commitment to self-improvement.
Oh, totally. It's like a forward-thinking approach to personal growth.
I like it.
And this whole thing with the lost prompts, it's a perfect example of how AI can be used to solve problems in ways we wouldn't expect.
So instead of freaking out, he just turns to technology to fix it.
Yeah.
Clever.
Exactly. He takes screenshots of the video, the parts where you can see the prompts on his screen, and then uses those images as input for ChatGPT, piece by piece, to try and rebuild them. It's like a digital puzzle.
That's really smart. But I got to ask, can ChatGPT actually read text from images that well?
It's a pretty cool combination of this thing called optical character recognition, OCR, with ChatGPT's language processing stuff. Basically, OCR lets the AI see and grab text from images. Then ChatGPT interprets it and puts it all back together.
So OCR does the seeing part and ChatGPT does the understanding part. Got it.
Right. But Appy Dave did say it wasn't always easy. He had some bumps along the way.
I can imagine. What kind of problems did he run into?
Well, sometimes the cropping was hard. He had to be super precise to get only the text he wanted ChatGPT to read. And then there's this canvas mode thing in ChatGPT. It's supposed to help with longer documents and managing context.
Yeah.
But it's still being worked on, and it wasn't perfect for this.
So tell me more about these canvas mode problems. What happened?
Well, sometimes the context from an earlier prompt would get mixed into the next one. It made things kind of messy.
Oh, I see. That would make things tough.
Yeah, so to avoid that, he had to start a brand new chat window for every single prompt he was trying to get back, which probably took, way longer. But hey, at least it worked in the end, right?
Persistence. It's got to feel good to finally get those prompts back after all that.
For sure. I think it really shows his problem-solving skills. But what I find really interesting is what those prompts actually say. Remember, these were guiding his whole process for making YouTube videos, so they tell us a lot about how he works.
Okay, now you've got me curious.
Hmm.
So what were some of the prompts he got back, and what do they tell us about how he makes content?
Well, even just the names of these prompts are pretty revealing. Things like gather input, define video goal, and generate project name show up.
Yeah.
Clearly, he's got a very structured, step-by-step way of approaching his video creation.
Yeah, that makes sense. Having a system can be so helpful when you're working with complex stuff like AI.
Totally.
But what about the actual words inside those prompts? Anything that stands out or surprised you?
There are some interesting bits. For example, in his Gather Input prompt, he asks the AI for additional considerations to ensure the content is tailored for international audiences,
Oh, wow. So he's thinking about a global audience from the get-go.
clearly thinking strategically about how to reach more people.
That's good strategy if you want your channel to grow. Any other interesting tidbits you can share?
Yeah. In another prompt, he emphasizes how important it is to make his videos engaging and memorable. He even uses the word edutainment, which suggests he wants to mix education and entertainment in his content.
I like that word, edutainment. It's very catchy. And it makes sense. A lot of popular YouTubers do that these days.
Right. It shows he's put a lot of thought into what makes content really effective.
So what tools was he using to build those prompts in the first place?
That's another interesting thing. He mentions he prefers using Anthropic's prompt generator, which is specifically for making AI prompts.
Okay.
He finds it's really good for making one-shot prompts.
One-shot prompts, what are those?
It's a prompt that's designed to get a complete and detailed response from the AI with just one interaction. You basically put all the context and instructions in right away, so you don't have to keep going back and forth to get what you need.
So it's all about efficiency. Makes sense.
Exactly. It's about getting the most out of your AI tools with the least amount of hassle. But it does make you wonder, does Appy Dave always use just Anthropic's prompt generator? Or does he try other tools too?
That is a great question, and one we will for sure explore in the next part of our deep dive.
Yes. We'll also take a closer look at what AI means for content creation in general, like how it might change the game for creators like Appy Dave, and maybe even for all of us.
If you're enjoying this podcast and you're thinking, maybe I'd like to work one-on-one with Appy Dave, then please check out the link down below. Otherwise, let's get back to the podcast.
Okay, welcome back. Appy Dave's way of creating prompts and that whole Project Theodore thing. Still thinking about it.
Yeah, it's really something, like it really shows how creators are like pushing the limits of AI, doing things we couldn't have imagined a while back.
Exactly. And it makes me wonder, are all these AI tools like ChatGPT and Anthropic's prompt generator just like a trend?
Right.
Or are they really going to change how creative work is done forever?
That's the big question, right?
Yeah.
And it's tough to answer. But I think Appy Dave's story kind of gives us a hint. He's not just using AI to like automate things. He's using it as a partner in his work, like a collaborator in the creative process.
It's like having this brainstorming buddy who's always around, full of ideas, never gets tired of trying new things. What's really wild is that this kind of AI power is available to like anyone these days.
That's the thing, right? It's like not that long ago, this level of AI was locked away in labs and big tech companies. Now, anybody with a laptop and internet can use it. It's like AI for everyone, and it's opening up so many new possibilities.
Speaking of possibilities, you mentioned before that Appy Dave is also trying out other AI tools, not just prompt generation. He even talked about a video where he used OpenAI's AI to analyze his surroundings while walking around Brisbane.
Oh, yeah, he was talking about using his camera as like an AI lens to understand the world around him. Imagine you're walking through a city, and AI is instantly telling you about the history of buildings, the types of trees, like all this information about the places you're seeing. It's like adding this layer of intelligent insights to your reality.
I can see how that would be really cool, especially for someone like Appy Dave who seems to love details and is always curious. It's like having a personal encyclopedia that updates in real time based on where you are and what you're looking at. It makes me think of when I visited the Louvre in Paris. It was just too much, so much art and history. I wish I had a way to quickly learn more about the things that caught my eye.
I totally get that feeling of being overwhelmed with information. But imagine how AI could change that experience. You could point your phone at a painting and instantly learn about the artist, the techniques they use, the symbolism, everything. It could even connect you to related artworks in museums all over the world.
That would be amazing, like having your own personal museum guide in your pocket. But let's take a step back for a sec. AI seems to offer so much, but it's still pretty new. Are there any risks or downsides we should be aware of?
That's really important to consider. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement and forget about the potential problems. One of the biggest challenges with AI is making sure it's accurate and reliable. AI models are trained on massive amounts of data, and if that data is biased or wrong, the AI's output will be too.
So it's not about just trusting everything the AI tells us. We still need to think critically, check the facts, and consider different perspectives.
Definitely. AI should help us, not replace us. It's about finding the right balance between human intelligence and AI assistance.
It's not humans versus AI. It's humans and AI working together to do things that neither could do alone. And as AI keeps getting better, it's super important to talk about how it affects us and how to use it responsibly.
I agree. AI isn't just a tech thing. It's changing our culture and society, making us rethink how we learn, create, and interact with the world.
And it's all happening so fast. So how can we as individuals keep up with all this and make sure we're using AI in a good way?
Well, first, stay informed about what's happening in AI. Read articles, listen to podcasts like this one, be curious, and engage in the conversation. But it's not enough to just know about AI. You need to understand how it works.
So don't just use the tools, learn the principles behind them. Then we can be smarter about the information AI gives us and use it strategically to reach our goals.
Exactly. And I think moving forward, we'll see even more advanced AI tools. They're easier to use, more personalized, and seamlessly integrated into our lives.
It's both exciting and kind of scary, right? Thinking back to Appy Dave's Project Theodore, he's basically building this digital record of his life, hoping that AI can someday learn from it and give him insights. It's fascinating, but it also makes you think about privacy, data ownership, and the idea of AI knowing us better than we know ourselves.
Yeah, you're right. It's like a two-sided coin. There are definitely things to think about, like privacy and data security. As AI becomes a bigger part of our lives, we need to have open discussions about these things and set clear ethical rules.
It's not just about the tech, it's about how we use it and what it does to us and society as a whole. But let's shift gears a bit. For our listeners who are new to AI, what are some key things they can take away from Appy Dave's story? What can they learn from his approach?
I think the biggest lesson is that AI isn't something out there in the future. It's here, it's easy to access, and it can be super helpful in everyday life. Don't be afraid to experiment with AI tools, see what they can do, and find ways to use them in your work, learning, or hobbies.
That's good advice. It's about being curious and trying new things. What about the other side of that? What should listeners be careful about when using AI tools?
It's important to remember that AI is a tool, not a magic wand. It can be powerful, but it's still early days. Don't just believe everything AI tells you. Check the facts and use your own judgment.
So use AI carefully and responsibly. Don't let it replace human thinking, but let it help us do things better.
Exactly. And I think the last takeaway from Appy Dave's story is the importance of always learning. The world of AI is changing all the time, so stay curious and informed.
And that's what makes this whole topic so interesting. AI isn't just about technology, it's about how we use it to shape our future.
That's true.
So we'll leave you with this thought. If you could have AI analyze your work, what would you want it to learn? How could it help you get better? Until next time, keep diving deep, keep exploring, and keep those brains buzzing.
Well, that's the end of the podcast where we looked at how I reconstructed a bunch of prompts based off videos and also how I used the Anthropic prompt generator. You can actually find the original live stream down below. I'm Appy Dave. Please like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next podcast.